Hello everyone. Today I'm going to show how to use Textract as a async way. There are two types of analysis in a Textract. One is sync, which is use analysis underscore document, and other one async method, which use start underscore document underscore analysis. Talking about pros and cons of each method and usage. Furthermore, I will show how to extract form and tables data from the PDF, and later on it can be written as a CSV file if you need. Kind reminder as usual, if you like this content, please like and subscribe, really appreciate it. Let's get in. First of all, let's see why and what are the difference between analysis underscore document versus start underscore document underscore analysis. Just for sake of simplicity, I'll pronounce analysis underscore document as analysis document without underscore. Same for start document analysis. With the sync method, you will get the result immediately. If we talk about the scenario where we can use the sync method, so this is good for analysis, a small document is like PDF or images. Good for analysis if you got good if the analysis is likely finished within the 30 seconds for smaller jobs, and this is simple compared to the async method. The other one, of course, you can implement this method simply, very easily. That's a kind of pros in sync method. So the other end is async method. Here you will get the job ID whenever you call start document analysis method, which can be used to fetch actual results later. Not like a sync method, you won't get the result or the actual content immediately. There are few important reasons where we need to use Textract async job, which is a start a document analysis. This is work for large PDF with the multiple pages or large images, which takes considerable time. For example, if you try to analyze a large PDF like more than 5 pages, something like more than 5 pages using the sync method, likely you will get an error saying the file format is not supported. Of course, the error message is really confusing if you are using sync method, as you will get this message, but you are wondering why the file format is not supported. Actually, it's not about the format of the file, it's basically the size of the file. So whenever you see a file format is not supported, when you do the Textract analysis, you move to async method. The other reason is that usually we use Lambda to analyze PDF document using the PDF or the images using the Textract. While the Textract analysis is going on, the Lambda doesn't do anything and it's just waiting the result from the Textract. So of course you are just wasting money. So that's why we can save money if you use the async method. The other one is again about the Lambda. So if you're calling Lambda through the API gateway and the Lambda doesn't respond within the 29 seconds, the actual user, for example, in this case could be like a postman or the front-end application, get the timeout error. So if you use the sync method, it's not more likely reliable because you will more likely get the timeout if you are calling the Textract through the API gateway. This is a side note, of course, about the API gateway. The API gateway timeout has a hard limit, which is 29 seconds. If you request a resource using API gateway and it takes more than 29 seconds, you will get a timeout error through API gateway. So keep in mind the timeout issue in the API gateway. The other one is this is more likely it's fit to the serverless architecture. Why I'm saying the start document analysis method, which is API call, support SNS topic as a parameter. So whenever you can call or you can configure or pass the SNS topic whenever you call this start document analysis method. So what's going to happen once the Textract job is done, it's called back the SNS topic where you can get a notification. This is perfectly fit. That's why we are saying it's perfect fit serverless architecture, and it's a more scalable solution if you are doing many analysis through the Textract service. So I have mentioned the AWS documentation link in the comment below. So if you like, just go for it and get the more deep understanding. Now this is the theory. So now let's see how we can implement async method step by step, which is start document analysis. I'll show you the other one too in a bit to just to give a comparison, but mainly focus on start document analysis. How do we implement through the Python? So let's go to the VS Code and start deploying. Right, so now is the fun part, doing the coding part. So just before go see the code, I'll show you the PDF what we are going to extract through the AWS Textract. So once you feed this PDF, this is a sample PDF with some few data, some sample data. And once I feed this PDF into Textract, Textract give a output, and which output has a some value as a key value, some has a table, some has a form. So this is like, for example, this one should come as end of the fiscal year insert year. This should come as a key value. This one a key, and 2023 as a value. Same thing for this. But this big table should come as a table with each row. We will have a compare once it run. Same thing for conversion rate come as a key value, as same as date. So now let's see the actual result just before go through the code. I ran the application, and what you can see, we get the job ID. I'll show you the logs and later. And we are waiting for the analysis. As I mentioned, this is async. We need to keep pulling the information, and because in this demo I haven't used SNS, so what we need to do, we need to keep pulling the status. So once we get the data, as you can see, I am dumping the actual key value. First key value, as you can see, as end of the fiscal year, that's the key, which is this, and the value will be 2023. If we go to second one, which is conversion rate, it's considered as this is the conversion rate we got as a second one. Conversion rate is further down, which should be 1.75, and then we got the date. So date as this is a key as a day. Let's check what is the day could be, which is the value is the 14th July. Okay, this is the key. So it's one thing is sometimes the key is not same as the one what you can see in the PDF. So as this is a good example, the key is something like as a date of application is a date, but over here what we get as a key day, that's the key. And the last key, let's see, okay, this is a one key, as you can see. Okay, so what you can see, this one as confident and two values. What you can see, this is an array, this is first object, and we got the second object. By the way, value is null, we don't want to worry about. This is a year is 20 July. That is where this is the, even though it's mentioned as in the text, it's date, but actual key in the AWS Textract what we providing is year. So that's one of the things you need to be careful when you do the analysis to the Textract. You run the couple of PDF and find in the key, and then grab the value as you needed. That's the key value. Then after that, what we do have a table. So this is the table, right? So I did a bit of formatting. I'll show you the format class I'm going to use. That is you can use for any application. It's not specific to this PDF. The whatever the generic method I'm providing, it work for most of the, I'm pretty much sure most of the scenario, to grab the table in a PDF. Let's get this table, and what we can do, copy, and let's see how does this table look like. So give it a change into JSON, because this is JSON, and do the bit of formatting, and let's see, we collapse all. Let's go one by one. So as you can see, this is an array of array. And what you can see, if you open the first one, this is the headers of the table. So you can see this is 1 2 3 4, this is the first header. And if you get the second one, second row, this is the second row. Type of eligibility, investment asset, and the second one, details of eligibility, blah blah blah. And let's go to the data, third one. Okay, this is the third row. Third row in the sense actual data. So this is actual data, cash in deposit. As you can see, cash in deposit. Then test description 1 cash. This is test description 1 cash, and it has some value. So as you can see, you won't see the test description 2 in the first object. We need to go to the second one, and second, where you can see the second object, test description 2 cache. This is one, it doesn't have any value, and even for the first column is nothing. So as far as you get this data, what you can see, you can do your own logic to grab and do your customized business logic. If you go to very down, maybe let's go to very down. Right, total value in AD. So basically this is the first column. Somehow this goes to the second column, because as you can see, this is a kind of merging the sum of the column. This bit goes to the second column, is considered as the second column. So that's why you need to run a couple of PDF and check the pattern, and sometimes it's not as always expected in the PDF. And then as you can see, AUD 10, this is AUD 10, 20, 30, and then lastly is 40. Right, that's the table we can grab. So as you can see, we can grab the whole bunch of pretty much all the data in the PDF in a block, in a table, or either table and either a key value. So let's see now. Let's see check the code. Right. So what I'm going to do, mainly this application has 3 classes. The first one is a Lambda function. This is basically getting the input and call the analysis method. And this is the document analyzer. This is the class which call in the AWS. I'll show you in a bit in the detail. So this is the document analyzer. It's called the AWS, and grab the output, get the result. And the document processor, this is the third class, which is formatting the data. We get the table data, we get the form data, then do some formatting and get nicely extract the data. So this class pretty much as you can I'll show you later, you can see later. And this class and the document analyzer pretty much generic, so you can use for any PDF, pretty much any PDF. So have a run and check whether the results you get is correct with the PDF. Right, now let's go to dig into the code. Just a quick note, I already configure my AWS profile with my AWS account, That is why I can use to my local environment to connect my AWS account in cloud. So if you do not have a AWS profile configure, please configure your profile first with your AWS CLI. Otherwise you can't connect from the local to your AWS account. If you don't know, please follow the link below in the comment. I have a link about how to configure AWS CLI. So that's the prerequisite. So you have to have a AWS CLI configure. Right, now let's go to the first one. We're gonna start with the Lambda function. That's the main class. And as you can see, we do have only one method. So this method get called from the call itself. Just for sake of simplicity, I'm calling the Lambda handler from my class itself rather than deploying to AWS itself. With this, I can run my Lambda function locally. So as you can see, I'm passing my S3 bucket and PDF file, key file, and so this has just a few methods. What's going to happen? It's calling the analyze document. I'll go through the document code in a bit. So first, what we're going to do, we call the analyze document. This is the way we call the AWS and grab the data. So which will send us a key. There are 4 objects, which has first one has a key map, second one has a value, then third one has a block map. Block is basically all the relation of each field in the PDF, and the fourth one is basically only the table blocks. This first and second is a key value, the third one is everything in it, and the fourth one is only the block values. Once we get these guys, what we're gonna do, we do some processing. As I mentioned, we process the key value and the form data. So this is where we get the form data. Then what we do some process the table data. So basically table data, and we are dumping the table. That's the table I show you in earlier. So this is a bit of formatting the data. So that's what the Lambda handler does. Now if I go to the analyze document, which is in the document analyzer, so it has a few methods. Basically it has 3 methods. The first one, this is the one that it's called from the Lambda function, which get the S3 bucket and the key value. Then what they do, it's called the trigger analysis. So if I go to the trigger analysis, it's pretty easy. What they're gonna do, once you call the trigger analysis, is to get the block. So this is the block, has all the information inside the PDFs. I'll show you this is just for debugging. I'll show you the test block, how does it look like, the blocks, and I'll come to in a bit. So then once you get the blocks, after that what we're going to do, we going through each block, and based on the key value and the table, we are populating the key value key map and the value map, and if it's a table, block type is table, we have populate the block object, and then we pass back to the whoever calling the analysis document, which is the Lambda functions. That's where, as I mentioned, we get the key value, block, and table. So how do we got the trigger analysis? Let's go to the trigger analysis. So trigger analysis in the further down, what the trigger analysis does, this is where it's happening, the extraction. We do have a Textract client. If we go to top, Textract client is a client from Boto 3. I'm using the Python, so we get the Textract client. Then what we do, if we go down again, we call the start document analysis. So this is the async method what we were discussing since beginning, the whole idea of this demo. So what we're going to do, we pass our S3 object as a document location and pass the bucket and the name. So that's all you need to do. So once we call, what we get the response. As you can see, okay, one thing I need to mention, okay, we pass in the analysis and we are asking, okay, give me all the forms and the tables. So you can pass another parameter. There are few feature types you can pass, for example, query. So I'll again put the link. If you're interested with the query, you can follow the AWS documentation. But by the way, it's pretty much same as the form and table. So in this demo, I'm talking about the forms and table. Yeah, passing we said, okay, we need the forms and the tables in the given PDF. That's what we are asking from the AWS. So the responses look like, as I mentioned, we get the job ID. So response object has a job ID. What we're going to do, we got the job ID and we are logging the job ID. That's fine, just for debugging purposes. Then what we need to do, we need to wait until the job is finished. As I mentioned, this is async method. We do not get the immediate response, but we get the job ID. So then what we need to do, we do have another method for say we get the job ID. This is my help. So we get the job ID, then we pass that job ID to get analysis result. So, and I'm creating the empty list. This is a whole block, and we are passing to this method job ID and the next token. In this case, none. I'll come to back. I'll come to this one, and the block list has a empty list, and that's what we do. In get analysis result, what they happening? We get the job ID, and the next token is a null, and the block list is empty. So if the next token is null, I'll talk about what is the next token. So we got the job ID, and now we need to get the data. So how to get the data? So we do have another method called get_document_analysis. So we need to pass the job ID to get the actual data. So we initially submit the job, and now we need to get the data. So get the data, we are passing the job ID. So if it is the first time, you don't need to provide the token. Token is something like AWS doesn't provide whole result in one request. For example, PDF has let's say 10 pages. If you call the get document analysis, you won't get the whole result of the 10 pages. You get the only 1 pages at a time. So that's why we need to get the token. So if you want to get the second page, you need to call second time. Again, you need to call, and the second time you need to pass the token. So if you call the second time with the token, what they provide the second result of the second page, and then third result of third page, so fourth page, so on. So every time you call, if you want to get the next page, you want to send the next token. At the very beginning, you don't have a token. Yeah, that's fine. Let's go through. Let's say we are calling the first time. The next token is a null. It's none. What they're going to do, we call the get document analysis and get the result. So if the result is let's say we get the result, and what we're going to try, we try to get the result block. There's an object with the block. Whenever they send the result, we get the blocks. So if the result has a block, that means they do have a data. So basically we got the data, so that's the job is done. So if it is not equal null, what we're gonna do, we added the particular block, the result, into our list. So we keep adding our blocks into our list. So that's where you can get, if you have 10 pages, you will get the 10 blocks. So we added the first block. Then what we're going to check if the result has any next token. So if we have a next token, that means you have a more data in the AWS. You need to retrieve more data. So if it is a not null, that means you have another page. So what we're going to do, we call back the same method and with the job ID, and this time what we're going to pass the token. So if we pass the token, again what's going to happen, if the token in this time we do have a token, it goes to the else, and here we call the same method with passing the token and we get the result. So that's how we iterate recursively fetch the data for the more than one pages. So the same one, for example, if the very first time the block is not there, block doesn't have that, the result doesn't have any blocks, what is going to happen, that means we have to wait because job is not done in the very beginning. So we can do some sleep. In this case, I'm putting the sleep at the 2 seconds and just call the result again. So the same method, and until we get the result, we are keep calling the get document analysis. You can put some timeout after some tries. You can ignore because that for me could be some error. That's something you can do. Or as I mentioned in the earlier, you can configure SNS. When the job is done, AWS trigger a message or topic, message to particular topic to SNS, and you get the notification. You can listen any new Lambda to particular notification, and you can do the processing. That's something you can do. Right. So this is the document analysis. So as I mentioned, this is a more generic class you can use for your scenarios too. Now we do have this third class which is document processor. So if you go to the document processor, right, so now let's go to the third class, which is the processing the document. So this class is, again, it's a more generic where you can use for your scenario 2, your case 2. Before go to this class, what I'm going to show you how does it look like the blocks. So blocks is basically, if I show you, I do some formatting, I can save, and yep. And so this blocks, if I show you where do I get the blocks, so here, so the whole blocks, if I dump into the file, what we can see, it's look like this. This is a array of the object. So this result object has as you can see, it's a very big very big file. So all the information of the PDF is sitting here. For example, if I go to and find, let's have a look, how does it look like, what we can find, cash in deposit. So if I search cash in deposit in this block file, as you can see, this has a block type, it has a different types, and it has all the confidence level and the text look like, and what's the text, and it has a kind of relationship. So this object is basically this the block object, the array has all the relationship between each tiny object. So for example, if I search this child, this GUID, as you can see the cash in deposit. If I search this first GUID over here, let's go to this, what you can see, it's a part of the first word. So that's a kind of sentence, the cash in a separate object. So if I go back again, that's a cache. So if I check this one, this should be something like this is on, that's a second method. So if I go to other one, this should be deposit. Copy, fine. So as you can see, this is a deposit. What we can see there, like all the relation between each object, each tiny section has a relationship built on this block JSON. This is something we're going to use use in the document processor to grab and find in the relationship and if you find the key, and we are finding the corresponding value. Same for the table. So let's go to document processor now. So if you go to the document processor, where does it call? If I go back to give a bit of recall, and the Lambda function we call the analyst document, which is document analyzer, get the key value map block and the table, and we call the process form data. That is the document processor. This is the form processing form. The second one is a table. I'll go to first form processing form. What they get, key value and the block. So that is this method. So as you can see, we get the key value and block. What they're going to do, they go through each key map and they get the value block. So given the key block, and they get the value, corresponding value, and then what we're going to do, we get the corresponding text, actual text. This is a key text. You can see get text from the providing the key, and the get text from the value. So basically something, okay, providing the get the key and the value. I'll go to this method. If I go to the value, get value, as you can see, we are providing the key value and the value map, and finding the using the relationship, as I mentioned, show you in the here the block object. So what we're going to do, we finding the correct value map. It's the same way if you go to the text one, how to get the extract the text. So in the text, we are setting the clipboard and the block map. So key and the whole block map. If I go to the get text, this is the get text, and what they see, they go to each relationship, finding the childs, finding the IDs, and if it is block type is word, they get the text and get the confidence. And if it, sometimes the PDF could be select checkbox sort of thing, that's where you get the text as a cross mark or X, and they get the kind of confidence level too. So this is kind of traverse through and finding the corresponding key and the value based on going through the child's IDs and met. So this block is basically a bunch of relationship which are connected to each object. That's how this get text from. Again, this is a pretty generic. This should work in your scenario too. So other than that, we are getting the confidence level. For example, this why we have, when we get the confidence level, for example, here we are dividing number of words. For example, the same scenario, if I go back, this object has a different confidence level. For example, the whole object has a confidence level based on how they have a confidence level on each small word. So basically these whole sentences, it's a 3 words, and the confidence level of cash on deposit is average confidence level. So when you get the whole sentence, we need to get the average confidence level. That's kind of things logic on over here when you get the extract the text, right? So if I go back again, again we get the key value, and what they do, we do a bit of a strip because there could be some white spaces around, and we create a kind of JSON object with the value, confidence, and confidence of the key, confidence of the value, and passing back. So that's the for process form data. If we go to the whoever calling the process form data, they get the key value maps. So then what we do, I'm logging, for example, this is something you can see key form. If you go up, right, this is a key form. You can see we are dumping the key and then the value. So basically this is the value. And I'm go back to document processor. That's the process form data. So the other one, what we're going to do, this is process and then process table data. If I go to the table data, let's see, this is the table data. Table data is a little bit different, but kind of same pattern, same concept. So in here, rather earlier we used the forms, now we are using the table. So what we're going to do, we got the block map, the whole nice block, this one, and we are providing the table blocks. And here what we're going to do, we go iterate through the each table, get the kind of, this is the index, we don't need to just log in, and what we're going to be try to generate table. So we do have again a few utility method. This method we're gonna use get the rows, kind of this same pattern we are using, nothing much. For example, if you try to get the column, you go to relation, child, id, find in the cell. Earlier we using the word in the key value scenario. In this case it's a cell, and then we try to get the actual value. So basically this get text table is something pretty much same as a get text form, finding the value and the confidence level. As you can see, we are getting the right confidence level by the average in the confidence level of each tiny blocks. That is something generic. It should work for your case. Try it and please let me know how things going. After that, what we get, this is a document processor. So if I go back to my document processor, and what we get, the table data is a list, and which has a object, list of object, something like this. So then once you get these two objects, you can grab your interesting record, because you don't want to get all the keys, because you are maybe interested with a few keys. You can use some config file to grab the necessary key, and based on that you can use your business, you can use this data to your business logic as it is. Right, that's pretty much this document processor and the Lambda function and document analysis. I went through this pretty much all three classes. That's pretty much about the code. Just to as a bonus point, what I do have another thing quickly, which is the package.deploy. What gonna do, I'm putting this, I'll put this all the code into GitHub and put this link in the comment. So lastly, I do have a SSH file. If you want to automatically deploy this Lambda to your AWS function, you can use this SSH file. And as far as you have a create a Lambda function in your AWS, and your AWS CLI is configure, and you just put the Lambda name same as the AWS name, then this will upload this code base into your Lambda function. This is basically, if I do a quick one, basically removing the deployment folder, this is where you get the zip file, and it's zipping the whole source file, and then update the environment variable. So you can put any, if you want to update any environment variable over here, and then upload the source code with the current local code. So this is how it's working. So again, there should be a Lambda name existing in as an AWS function. So yeah, that's pretty much for today video, and hope you enjoyed the video. Please let me know if you have any question or query in the comment below. I'll jump and reply. Again, if you like to see more video, and if you like this content, please like and subscribe, really appreciate it. See you on next video. Thanks.